Fox42, and you may have noticed that I'm using a different randomizer. It's because the old one wasn't really doing it for me, but hey, good news, my line art is back on par. So without further ado, let's get into the story. Just about everyone will tell you not to go to a disembodied voice. If you hear one, then ignore it and don't go near it. Most people say that these voices will try to lure you into the forest or convince you to do something you shouldn't, or that it's all just in your head. Most cases it is, and others are just unexplainable. I guess you could say that's kind of my case too. My father was in and out of the hospital quite a bit growing up, which left me alone in the house for long periods of time, or being babysat by my sibling for, again, long periods of time. But when I was on my own, my sibling was doing whatever they were doing, or out of the house, there was always this disembodied voice that would keep an eye on me. They'd check in on me every now and then, ask if I were okay, and to that I would happily say yes. 'Cause it sounded like my mom's voice. But that wasn't right. She was at the hospital with my father, right? This voice would also tell me not to go into the rooms at certain times, not to go upstairs at certain times, and to avoid things, such as playing with a gas stove or a lit candle. I never brought it up to my mother or sibling at the time, but recently I did talk to my mother about it. She was really concerned at first for my well-being and her superstitions, but as I explained the situation to her, she seemingly calmed down. She has her theories, but she's never really told me about any of them. So I don't know whether this thing was good, bad, or if it was really just in my head. Although, I have a hard time believing that. Because a while back, when I was a little girl, my sibling heard the voice as well. They were playing their video games and I was hanging out, and suddenly we heard my mom's voice ring out in the hallway asking if I was okay. She called me by my full name. And to that, my brother checked his phone and yelled down, "Are you guys back already?" He got a text back where she told him no, and he immediately closed, locked his door, and kept me in there with him until they did return. I'm not sure if he told them about what happened. I'm being honest when I say I don't think he did. He's not the superstitious kind, doesn't believe it whatsoever. But that doesn't stop strange things from happening whenever he's around us sometimes. And that was the last I heard of the voice, until recently this year. It was late in the day, and I didn't have anything scheduled, so I was sleeping in, until I heard my mother call out to me. First time didn't wake me up completely, but the second time did. It was almost like she shouted in my ear. She said my full name, and then told me to get up. I bolted out of my bed and ran downstairs looking for her. I looked up in her room, in the office, everywhere. I couldn't find her. I knew it was her day of work. She wasn't in the house, but sounded like she was right there. Eventually, I went back to lay down, freaked out and unable to sleep, so I checked my phone, and there, pretty sure it was that day, there was a message for me. It was my mother telling me that she was going to be in the hospital for the whole day, and probably overnight, thanks to a blood clot.